Welcome back. After continuous attempts by Pakistan to bleed India, the Indian army has given a befitting reply. And how? Army has now bombarded and decimated Pakistan post in Nowshera. In a 20-second video clip released by the Indian army, which is on your screens right now, is the proof of India's biggest punitive strike. A clear retaliatory strike after Pakistan's endless provocations. The Indian army used 80mm mortars to blow up Pakistani post. In 20 seconds, a concrete structure, a big Pakistani post in the Nowshera sector has been destroyed. This post, which the Indian army says has been identified as the one which has been giving not only logistical but covering fire to terrorists, those who sneak into India from Pakistan, has now been taught a lesson. In 20 seconds, in 8 to 10 big strikes, the Indian army destroyed, decimated, brought to the ground this Pakistani post. The Indian army today released this video, and also along with it a statement from Major General Ashok Narula, who in fact described this entire operation. He said apart from dominating the LOC, punitive strike was conducted. What sources are telling us that this was done earlier this month, in which Pakistan suffered massive casualties. In fact, a 24-second video was released by the Indian army. As expected, Pakistan has, this is the, for our viewers, those who understand the reactions of Pakistan, first comes the denial, then the disbelief, and then, of course, Pakistan says that civilians have been targeted by the Indian army. Let's listen in to various defense experts, former army chiefs, those who have been speaking to India today about this punitive strike by the Indian army. All right, those were the reactions from the former army chiefs and former army experts, in fact, talking to us about how important is this action. Once again, take a look at this video on your screens. Let me, and in fact, to talk more about it, I'm also being joined by Executive Editor Gaurav Sawant, who is joining us live from New Delhi, from Vijay Chowk. Gaurav, it's not that this sort of an action was not taken by the army before, but the way they have come out, but the way they have announced it to the world, it shows not only resolve, but intent that more such actions will be taken if Pakistan does not stop pushing terrorists on our side.
So the army expects a hot summer this year. In 2017, there have been indications that a number of terrorist launch pads have already been activated. We've seen a number of engagements all along the line of control, especially in the Nogam sector on the 21st of May, where we lost 3 brave soldiers and 4 terrorists were killed. But before that, on the 9th of May, the army had carried out a big operation all along the Pir Panjal, especially south of Pir Panjal, and not just restricted to the Nowshera sector. The video that the army has just released is of the Nowshera sector, where a Pakistani post that army says was aiding, abetting and pushing in infiltrators. That post was razed to ground. But along the line of control, army sources say several such punitive strikes have taken place and have been taking place ever since our soldiers were mutilated along the line of control. So the aim is, as you very rightly pointed out, Ankit, to send out a strong message that in case Pakistan continues to violate ceasefire, there will be big costs for Pakistan to pay. It doesn't mean that 1 or 2 strikes Pakistan will stop. It just goes on to show that India is willing to bleed Pakistan more than Pakistan can take along the line of control.
Gaurav, how important is this sort of an action for the morale of our troops? Just a few weeks back, we saw the border action team of Pakistan coming in onto our side of the LOC, beheading our soldiers. This punitive strike that has been conducted by the Indian army, pinpointing on the posts which engage in giving cover fire to Pakistani terrorists, how important it is for those who are defending the borders on the front lines.
It's very important for the morale of our troops, and it's very important for the civilians in Pakistan, for the people in Pakistan, to get this message that India has been carrying out a series of such punitive strikes. Now, the Pakistan army knows, the Pakistan army is bleeding, but all of this information is kept away from civilians in Pakistan. So this is you know, there's a twin-pronged strategy. One, boost morale of own soldiers, own people, own civilians, and two, send a message down the line in Pakistan. So, Ankit, one thing needs to be very clear. Pakistan is also a very well-disciplined army. It's also a very well-stocked army, and such strikes have happened on either sides. But this time, the intent of the army, and that is what top army sources have been telling us, and General Narula, you know, the army spokesperson, the additional director general at army headquarters, he made one thing very clear. These punitive strikes have been carried out to send out a signal that it's going to be a hot summer. India is prepared for it, and those who push in terrorists will be punished for pushing in terrorists.
Gaurav, if you could, you know, also tell us about this change of strategy as far as the political and the military leadership is concerned. Okay, before I, you know, complete that question, Gaurav, let me just quickly bring in Hamza Amir, our colleague who's joining us from Islamabad. Hamza, this video that has been released by the Indian Army, 9th May video, sources are telling us, in which punitive strike was conducted on a Pakistani post. Has there been any reaction from the Pakistan army or the government on this?
Well, on the official ground, there has been no response from the Pakistan government or even from the Pakistan Armed Forces. But yes, during the 9th of May, there were reports and there was a press release that came out from the ISPI itself saying that there was provocation on part of India, as Pakistan has always called it, which was responded to forcefully by the Pakistan Armed Forces in the Nowshera sector. But details on if the Pakistani post was actually destroyed or even if there were any casualties of Pakistan Armed Forces, soldiers who have not been reported, neither have they been actually confirmed from any government or official sources in Pakistan.
Hamza, stay on with me. Gaurav, this seems to be a very, you know, the usual response as far as the Pakistani army and the establishment is concerned. First, they are completely in denial. Then, you know, they come out and release statements like the Indian army is engaging and bombarding civilian areas. Hardly any time when the Pakistan army actually comes out and accepts that they have been punished.
Spot on there, Ankit, and you know, that is Pakistan's biggest failing right from the Kargil war, when they hid the casualties, 300 plus casualties of the Pakistan army, that Indian army had to bury their soldiers. In all, Pakistan lost 800 soldiers, and you know, the remarkable thing is Pakistan only accepted the bodies of some of their officers and officers who were sons of senior officers in Pakistan army. Only those bodies Pakistan accepted in 1999 or sought India's help to recover those bodies. Otherwise, Pakistan does not accept bodies. Even in this case, I'm not surprised Hamza is saying that Pakistan hasn't accepted that there have been punitive strikes that have been carried out, because this wasn't restricted just to the 9th of May. While the army released a video, this 30-second video of what happened on the 9th of May in the Nowshera sector, army sources say that a series of such strikes have been carried out all across the line of control, especially south of Pir Panjal. In the Nowgam sector, Pakistan attempted to infiltrate, and again, that is one sector where Pakistan used hardened troops to aid and abet infiltrators at the line of control, where the Indian army also had 3 fatal casualties and some serious injuries to our soldiers in beating back that infiltration. The terrorists were killed. Heavily armed, heavily trained terrorists, abetted and aided by Pakistan army, including by their border action team, killed at the line of control in that Nowgam sector, which also goes on to indicate, Ankit, that 9th May there was a punitive strike that did not deter Pakistan from trying something on the 21st.
Right.
And that goes on to show that Pakistan continues to spread terror, and India needs to be careful at all times.
Hamza, you know, I'm just going through a Twitter feed, and this seems to be of Major General Asif Ghafoor, and this Twitter feed that I'm going through is on 13th. In fact, it said in a press release, ISPR press release, that Indian Army has been targeting innocent civilians on both sides of the LOC in recent past. Now, many experts in India are actually seeing this as some sort of an acknowledgement of what has happened on May 9th. This has been, according to experts on this side of the border, that the Pakistani army first denies, and then they issue statement like these, saying that the Indian army has been targeting the civilians. has there been any, in reports or informations of Pakistani soldiers being killed across the LOC?
Well, recently, yes, there have been reports of at least 4 soldiers that were killed in the cross firing, and they're on the line of control. And yes, Pakistan actually has the same line that it takes. Similarly, what India takes. Pakistan calls India's provocation on the line of control violation of ceasefire, while targeting civilian localities around the line of control and the borderline areas. This is normal on Pakistan's part, because this is how it has been, quite frankly, for many years now. When India actually says there was cross-border ceasefire violation from the Pakistan side, Pakistan actually rebuttals that, or either say that it was the provocation from the Indian side and retaliation action from the Pakistan side. And unfortunately enough, this is how it has been, and it does not seem to end during the summers. I agree that it might be a hot summer only for the fact that the army chief has had at least 3 visits on the line of control.
Yes.
He's met with the soldiers on the line of control as well. So that actually highlights the fact, the sensitivity of the situation on the line of control and Pakistan's position when it comes to increasing their deployment on the line of control, and at the same time this seems to be an action done only keeping in mind that the summer is going to be a hot for both India and Pakistan, especially on the line of control.
Hamza, stay on with me. Let me just quickly get in Gaurav once again. Gaurav, this sort of a strike, it does send a message, but it is not the end of it. As you have been pointing out that even after this strike, there have been attempts by the Pakistani side to give cover fire to terrorists being pushed in towards across the LOC. Now, how should the Indian army, keep up this entire momentum or keep up this entire offensive so that it becomes so costly for Pakistan that they actually have to pull back the terrorists on which they are trying to, throw onto our side?
Ankit, till the summer of 2003, till the Ramzan ceasefire of 2003, India and Pakistan were exchanging heavy fire along the line of control, including heavy artillery. 155mm howitzers were being used all along from the beginning, all along the 770-kilometer long line of control, and also the 110-kilometer long Siachen Glacier, the actual ground position line. India was punishing Pakistan so bad that Pakistan's army chief and then military dictator Pervez Musharraf, he sought the Ramzan ceasefire. Now, Ramzan ceasefire came into being in 2003. That, of course, gave India also the opportunity to build a fence along the line of control. And the advantage was that infiltration came down to a trickle. So by then, Indian army had punished Pakistan so effectively that Pakistan sued for peace. Now, that has been Indian army's, strategy all along. You make it, very expensive for Pakistan to push in infiltrators. Pakistan will not stop, but it won't be very cost effective for Pakistan to do so.
Yes.
In fact, in several instances, soldiers on ground used to tell us that particular battalion commanders would actually, from the other side, give out information through their local sources that such and such place infiltration is happening, so that the Indian army would only go after the infiltrators and not destroy posts along the line of control. So that kind of dominance India has along the LC, except in 1 or 2 sub-sectors, and that dominance India needs to maintain all along.
Gaurav, if you could also tell us, when a post like this is destroyed, of course, Indian army would have got some sort of intelligence on this. They would have known that it's a vital target. It's not that just a bunker has been targeted. It's a well-built concrete structure across the LOC on the Pakistani side which has been targeted. What kind of a damage, are we expecting that we have incurred on Pakistan?
So we repeatedly put this question to General Narula and also to sources in army headquarters in terms of number of bunkers destroyed, number of posts destroyed, and the physical casualties on the Pakistani side. Because sooner than later, this information does trickle in through various intelligence inputs, through wireless chatter, through chatter that's happening in terms of messages being relayed back and forth in terms of number of ambulances required or people need to be sent to hospital across. So information does trickle in. In this case, the army is being very cautious. They are not giving out figures of either the number of posts destroyed or the number of casualties on the Pakistani side, even though some figures were put out by the Pakistani side in terms of civilians killed, as you rightly pointed out, quoting the ISPR. The Pakistan says civilians targeted. The army is very, categorically giving out videos of military posts being targeted. So Each military post has anything between 4 to 8 soldiers, depending on when the post has been targeted, whether patrolling was on or at that point everyone was in the post, the number of people who were there at a listening post, the number of people who were there at an actual post. So the numbers, there is an assessment by the army, but they're not giving it out because their aim is not to antagonize civilians across or soldiers across to compel them to react, but just give out the information that, look, damage has been inflicted, damage will be inflicted. It's for Pakistan to assess the losses.
Gaurav, also a word about this change of strategy as far as the government of India is concerned. We have been speaking to former army chiefs, those who have been telling us that action of this nature has always been conducted across the LOC to punish Pakistan. But it is a very important step, a very important indication that the government of the day backs the Indian army. They want it to be put out in public domain, not only for the local audience here in India, but a message being sent across to Pakistan and across the globe.
Well, the government, from what government sources tell India today, they've tried every trick in the trade to have good relations with Pakistan. From step one, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was sworn in, he invited Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. He made that visit to Lahore completely unannounced, hoping to make friends with Pakistan. When none of that worked, in terms of, we've had terror attacks in Pathankot, we've had terror attacks in Uri, we've had terrorists who are targeting military camps. Even now, Pakistan openly abetting terrorism in Kashmir Valley, openly funding terrorism in Kashmir Valley. With that, then the army is sending out a message, and the government is sending out a message. When the government releases these videos, because in the past these videos would come out through sources, videos would come out from mobile cameras of soldiers sharing them either with their battalions or neighboring battalions or with friends, and months later they would come out in public domain. This time the government is officially giving it out to send out a message that this is our intent. We will destroy those posts that, that's what the government is saying, that they will destroy the posts that carry out, that infiltration. But more than that, while they're destroying posts that carry out infiltration, they're also destroying posts where Pakistan feels it is strong, because that is where Pakistan is being weakened. Because, Ankit, there is another impact of this. It's not as if Pakistan can tomorrow start rebuilding those posts. That the Indian army will not permit. The moment Pakistan tries to rebuild posts, they'll be firing in that area, and Pakistan will really have to request India through flag meetings if they can rebuild that post. And for that, then India will then say, you'll have to stop infiltration, close down those terrorist training camps. So this is a game that's been played by both sides, and here is where army hopes there'll be some permanent damage to the Pakistan security forces at the LC.
And also, Gaurav, if they want to rebuild these posts, first of all, they will have to come out and admit that India has punished them so heavily. I request both of you to stay on with me, Gaurav and Hamza. Let's just quickly play for our viewers some reactions of the defense experts that we have been gathering on this story.
Well, I think let me compliment the Indian Army, firstly, Northern Command and the Army Headquarters, the Chief, for what they have done. These kind of operations, punitive strikes, I'm glad are being put in the public domain, because it's very important for the country to know that the soldiers are retaliating. In the past, unfortunately, this kind of a thing was not done. But then today, as you know, the military has a solid political backing. And with that political backing today, as you heard, the statement was given out by the Raksha Mantri when we had the last beheading incident. In that, it was very categorically brought out that, the sacrifice by the soldiers would not go in vain. And the chief had announced it. In other words, the entire operation had a political backing. And with this kind of a thing, I think the morale of the army goes up. And I'm glad that this incident, this entire decimation of the Pakistani post is being today shown on the television to our nation, to our people, let them know what their Indian army is all about. In the past, unfortunately, let me tell you, for every soldier killed, our soldiers have been killing 5 of Pakistanis. But unfortunately, it was never covered. But I'm so happy that your TV channel is covering this, and you're showing this. It's good for the morale of the nation, good for morale of the army as well.
Well, showing videos in a public media in India does not have any effect on Pakistan. Pakistan only understands the effect that it has on them. This media video is going to have no effect on them. They couldn't care less. What they get worried about when they actually get a bashing. So whether we destroy 1 bunker and show it in the video, or destroy 5 bunkers and show it in the video, is not so important. What is important is that Pakistan must feel the damage. Pakistan must feel that they've been hit, and they've been hit hard. Therefore, these videos are not really meant for Pakistan. Pakistan needs to be taught a lesson on the face of it. So videos are all right for people to generally get the information, but the taste of the pudding and its eating. So you've got to beat the hell out of these guys to see that they get the message right. So Pakistan may not be so worried about seeing the video, but they certainly needs to be taught a good lesson with a heavy hand. That's what I'm trying to say.
Now, when you see these images on India today, you're looking at the army using precision weapons. They're using anti-tank guided missiles. Now, these are missiles that hit the target, they pierce through concrete and destroy the enemy posts and bunkers. They're also using recoilless 106mm RCLs, recoilless guns in these operations. They're using automatic grenade launchers. When you see a cross-section of weapons being used, infantry support weapons, what you realize are the kind of operations that have been mounted in these areas. I want to quickly cut across to Pakistan and bring in India Today's Hamza Amir for more on this. Hamza, while the army has released this one video, from what sources tell India Today, a series of such strikes have been carried out ever since the mutilation of our soldiers at the line of control. Any word whatsoever from Pakistan on the impact on the other side of this strike on the 9th of May, before and after?
Well, Gaurav, firstly, Pakistan actually does not own, on official grounds, the mutilation incident. Pakistan says it would never do this to any soldier, no matter which side of the border the soldier might be from. That's what Pakistan says on that matter. But yes, you are right, when there have been increased incidents of line of control, cross-border firing incidents, shelling being done from both sides. But regarding the 9th May, Pakistan official from the government or even from the forces have not actually confirmed that this particular post was actually destroyed from the Indian shelling, and neither are they actually confirming the fact that if there were any casualties of the Pakistani armed forces people. What Pakistan maintains is that every time there is provocation done, it is done from the Indian side, and it is targeting the civilian localities along the Pakistani side.
But isn't this strange, Hamza? For though you study the armed forces in Pakistan very closely, isn't it surprising that Pakistan's army chief, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, after he took over, in the recent past, he's visited the line of control not once, not twice, but thrice in the Hajipir sector and south of Hajipir, in what you call is your Nakial sector and adjoining areas. He's visited this place thrice.
Well, yes, in fact, that is an exception that, an army is going on the line of control at a time when there are tensions on the rise on the line of control. There are serious security concerns for an army chief to go on that side of the border. But yes, he has visited 3 times. He has met the soldiers, and army sources are saying that, this actually comes down as a very huge morale booster for the people and the soldiers on the borderline. This is what Pakistan actually says. But yes, as you rightly pointed out before, that this is summer season, it is an upsurge on the line of control tension between India and Pakistan, not only related to the mutilation of the soldiers on the Indian side, but also related to the coercion. In this case, Pakistan expects reaction coming from India, and that is why I think, these kind of visits are being done. So I think
Hamza, stay with me for a moment. We are now getting an official word from Pakistan government. From the information that's trickling in, Pakistan has now officially denied that any punitive strikes were carried out by India. For the benefit of our viewers, this was not a surgical strike, but punitive strikes with infantry support weapons used by the Indian Army, including anti-tank guided missiles, including automatic grenade launchers, 106mm recoilless guns, etc., used by the Indian Army. But Pakistan is denying all of it. Let's try and listen, and we are getting a reaction from Pakistan. I want to cut across to Hamza Amir for more on this. So Hamza, what your sources were telling you now is being confirmed by the Pakistan government.
Exactly. I think, this was something that was already expected. I'm not very surprised to hear Pakistan's response when they say that, all these claims of our posts being destroyed are that if they are not true, and that is similar to what Pakistan has already responded many times to what India's games have been in the recent past as well. Let it be the mutilation incident as well. Pakistan denied it outrightly, said that this never happened, and similarly the case on this. That is where we're very unfortunate. When the line of control incidents and proper sharings are happening, people are dying, soldiers are being sacrificed, yet there are no ownerships coming from this side, and that is where the trouble continues. But yes,
but Hamza, for the benefit of our viewers in India, Hamza, in India, when a soldier passes away, when a soldier is martyred at the line of control, the armed forces pay their tribute. He gets a 21 gun salute. His family is informed. The army goes to his family. There is a gun salute, and he's laid to rest with full military honors, cremations with full military honors. Does that not happen with Pakistan army soldiers? Don't families there ask questions that how are so many deaths perhaps shown as road accidents?
Well, it actually does happen. The same kind of protocol is practiced on the Pakistani side with the armed forces and armed soldiers, who are sacrificed. But yes, only the problem is that, only information that we get when it comes to the army and their activities is coming from the ISPR itself. There is no other source to actually verify those information being right or wrong. But yes, all these protocols are followed. Soldiers are given the same honor, because they have given their life in the line of duty, similarly as it is done in India. But yes, as I said, you cannot actually come back onto the Pakistan armed forces to ask questions. Even the families whose sons and their soldiers are actually killed in the line of control, their protocols are followed. But if that is reported and if the number is correct, the only source we have in Pakistan to verify that is the IS itself, and that actually represents the Pakistan.
But what about social media? Because when there is a cremation or a burial with full military honors, several people take out their mobile phones, they film that, it's shared on social media. Does all of this not happen? Are bodies even sent back to families, or bodies at the line of control, are they buried in unmarked graves or in military graves along the line of control?
Well, the bodies are actually buried in military graves, but yes, the families are handed over. They are actually notified. They are present at the funeral ceremonies. All honors that are military protocols are provided to every single soldier who actually is killed on the line of control or any other side of the border in the war. But yes, as I said, that even the social media in Pakistan right now seems to be very restricted in raising questions. So even as we speak right now, there are people who have been picked up of posting their comments against the Pakistan armed forces, and there is a whole provision that has been in place targeting all those people who are actually, trying to propagate or even do a propaganda, or as what they call propaganda against the armed forces of Pakistan. They are going to be picked up and questioned and being punished. So I think in Pakistan, the environment is becoming more restricted to actually, be able to verify an information different sources, let it be the social media or even individuals itself, because people are right now very, sensitive when it comes to even writing a single word related to the Pakistan armed forces.
True. There have been reports on major crackdown and major restrictions on social media sites and Twitter handles and Facebook pages in Pakistan. Hamza Amir, our brave correspondent in Pakistan, speaks the truth, comes up with the latest on what's happening in Pakistan. But the latest that India Today viewers are watching are images of Indian Army's punitive strike at a Pakistani post in the Nowshera sector on the 9th of May. Well, the Army's released images, a 32-second long clip of one such Pakistani post being destroyed, but Army sources say similar activities have taken place along the south of Pir Panjal in several sectors where India dominates Pakistan. It's intended to send a signal to Pakistan as Pakistan prepares for a hot summer to push in more terrorists into India. And we've seen an incident in Naugam sector north of Pir Panjal where Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists, heavily armed, very well-trained Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists tried to infiltrate. There was a very fierce gun battle in which 4 terrorists were killed. Unfortunately, 3 of the Indian Army braves were also martyred in that operation. Hamza, terrorist training in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Lashkar-e-Taiba's Daura-e-Aam and Daura-e-Khas. Now, any restrictions whatsoever, any information, especially after Hafiz Saeed being under this so-called house arrest, any restrictions on Lashkar-e-Taiba, Falah-e-Insaniyat Foundation, Jamaat-ud-Dawa, or the other names, Tehreek-e-Azadi Jammu Kashmir, the new name of the terror group?
Well, the only restriction that we know of is on Jamaat-ud-Dawa's leader, as he is under house arrest. But yes, the new brand names have been introduced. Falah-e-Insaniyat Foundation, the charity organization of Jamaat-ud-Dawa, continues to operate openly in all parts of Pakistan. This Tehreek-e-Azadi Jammu Kashmir, the new brand name of Jamaat-ud-Dawa itself, has been operating around Pakistan, having public gatherings everywhere. So there's not too much to actually, mention when it comes to Pakistan's attempts on even countering down or even, pushing down the Jamaat-ud-Dawa organization itself. Lashkar-e-Taiba, however, continues to stay on the Pakistan watch list and ban a terror organization, which Pakistan claims does not operate in Pakistan. They say, as the Jamaat-ud-Dawa people say itself as well, that it operates in Kashmir itself, being funded by the people itself. It is not related to Pakistan. That is what Pakistan's position is on Lashkar-e-Taiba. That is why I would say that it continues to stay comfortably on the Pakistan terror watch list of the organization. But other than that, there is nothing on ground happening when it comes to rooting out Jamaat-ud-Dawa from on ground is concerned. New brand names, same faces on the ground are seen actively opening and moving down, talking against India and anti-India speeches openly in Pakistan.
Okay. What we are also noticing is that the army has very clearly said that this is an anti-terror operation. When a surgical strike was carried out, that time the army said it's an anti-terror operation. That time it was a preventive strike. This time it's a punitive strike. It's not a surgical strike. The Indian army did not cross the line of control, but Indian army used infantry support weapons is what army sources tell India today, from anti-tank guided missiles to other infantry support weapons like recoilless guns. 106mm RCLs were used, automatic grenade launchers were used, other weapons were used, all to destroy Pakistani posts, to send out a message. Major General Ashok Narula is the Additional Director General of Army Headquarters when it comes to sharing information with the media. General Narula made it very clear why these strikes were carried out, how the Indian Army had an assessment of a build-up of infiltration of terrorists trying to use this area to infiltrate. That infiltration, the summer posture of the Indian Army, they are deployed heavier along the line of control. We are also speaking to a number of our experts, whether it's General Ved Malik, former Army Chief, or General Atta Hussain, former Chinar Corps Commander, and former Army Commanders, to get more on this story. But for a moment, let's try and listen in to General Ashok Narula, ADG PI, when he gave out details of Army's punitive strike.
As part of our counter-terrorism operations, punitive fire assaults across line of control are being undertaken by the Indian Army. Pak Army has been providing support to the armed infiltrators by engaging our forward troops from their weapon emplacements and pillboxes closer to the line of control. At times, they are even not hesitated to target villages in the proximity of line of control. As part of our counter-terrorism strategy, and to ensure that infiltration is curbed, an initiative remains with us. Indian Army proactively dominates line of control. While doing so, locations aiding infiltration of terrorists are being targeted and destroyed to deny advantage to terrorists, thus curbing infiltration attempts. Infiltrations are likely to increase with melting of snow and opening of passes. Operations like Nogam, where 4 terrorists were neutralized on 20th and 21st of May, are such instances. This calls for even more.
A quick break. Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad, former Director General of Infantry, joins me on the broadcast. We will talk to him about how the nature of warfare has changed from what happened in 1999 Kargil when he was DG Infantry to the current situation and the road ahead. Because the road ahead is extremely critical, especially the summer of 2017, not just along the line of control, not just in the Kashmir sector, but also in the Jammu sector and in the hinterland, in the depth areas where Pakistan is openly aiding and abetting terrorism in the Kashmir Valley.